We are. Hey, everyone hear me okay? Yep. Wonderful. Thank you all so much for coming out. We are going to get started with the official part of the member meeting. For those of you who haven't met me, my name is Ken. I'm the membership manager at WABA. I just want to thank you all so much for coming out. We couldn't do any of the work that we do, from classes for folks learning how to ride, to our advocacy work, to the Gear Up program with the new shop, and teaching kids how to become the next generation of bike mechanics. We couldn't do any of it without all of your help. So if you can give yourselves a big round of applause to start it off. For folks online, there will be an opportunity to participate in the feedback portion later. I'm monitoring the chat, so for our folks joining us over Zoom, if there's ever audio or visual issues, just let us know and we'll get those fixed. And then before I turn it over, we are going to do a quick poll for the raffle. If you haven't gotten your tickets, don't worry, there'll be another poll for these. But if you take those out, I'm going to read out the number on those. So we got a couple just over there. So you can meet me by that table. Once you're done, I'll get you set up. We got a whole table of merch over there, and you get your pick of any of it that you like. But if anything over there does look good and you aren't able to win the raffle, it's also all for sale. So you can see me after we're done with the event, and I can get you set up to find some of those. So without further ado, we are going to do our first poll of this. If those ready. Got our first one. We got. I'm just read the last three numbers. It's 597. We got a 597. Go once. Go twice. So again, you meet me over at the table in the corner. We got two more to go before we get started. So we get a little drum roll on this one. Let's see what we got. We got 586. We got 586. There we go. Congratulations to Charlie. And you can the table over there, and I'll get you all set up. We got one more, and then we'll get started meeting proper. We got 618. We have a 618. Hey, we have one of our wonderful volunteers. If I forgot, by the way, thank you so much to all the volunteers who helped out with this event. We couldn't have set up or done this without y'all, so thank you again. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Kira, who is going to get the call the meeting officially to order.
Right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the 2025 WABA member meeting. I call us officially to order. So we have 3 orders of business tonight. The first will be voting in new board members. The second will be Elizabeth sharing an update with you about all the exciting work that WABA has been doing. And then the third one, which is what I'm most excited about, is an interactive session where we're going to kick off our strategic planning process. I want to say just a couple of words about what that will entail. The last strategic plan goes through the end of 2025, so we're closing it out. And strategic planning is one of those words that you hear a lot, but here at WABA, it's actually a very simple part of the work that we do, and it guides us. And so I wanted to share a couple of the things that we established in our last strategic plan that have really made a difference in how we worked for the past 5 years. One is that last time that we went through this process, we really got aligned on the idea that transportation equity is very central to what we do, and acknowledging that the joys of biking and the opportunity to ride safely is not distributed evenly throughout our region, and that it's our responsibility to make that less true. Another really important philosophical shift that we aligned ourselves around last time we went through this was the idea that biking isn't just a joyful activity that we do on our own for our own reasons. It's also a critical part of our transportation infrastructure, and that we need to think about biking's place relative to all the other ways that people get around. And that biking, if we do it right in this region, can really supercharge our transportation system in a way that WABA hadn't fully articulated before 5 years ago. And the last thing that I want to share that we did shift our thinking on with the last strategic plan is one that I hope will resonate with many of you. One of the things that we acknowledged is that there's just too much advocacy work to be done in this region for WABA to do it all by ourselves. And even if we managed to double our advocacy staff, which at the time sounded absolutely ridiculous, how could we possibly do that? And we've done it, which I'm just so grateful that we've had the chance to do. But even if we did that, there just aren't enough WABA employees to do the work that needs to be done. And so we reconceived our advocacy strategy to see WABA as an incubator, a supporter, and partner to both individual citizens, to groups of neighbors, to other organizations. And we set what at the time felt like a really ambitious goal that we would be partnering and supporting at least 5 community-led efforts to improve the bike infrastructure and bike safety in our region. And the last update that I saw, it was a very long list, definitely not something that I could count on all my fingers. And I am just so impressed and inspired by the amount of energy that we have in our community to make this a better place to bike. And we have managed to accomplish so much together. And the work is not done, of course, but in thinking about WABA as a spark of that network, a group that can help other groups that are figuring out how to make an impact where they live in the areas, the smaller areas that mean the most to them, I think that is really a key to a lot of the progress that we've made over the past 5 years. And so I really appreciate everything that those of you in this room have done to help make that, to distribute the power and energy in that way that allows us to accomplish so much more together. So that is all I want to say for looking back. And we'll start, oh, actually, no, one more look back before we start moving forward. In addition to welcoming 2 new candidates for to serve on our board, I want to just thank our 3 outgoing board members. Michelle Tidani and Debbie Lane both had to leave the board for personal reasons, but we appreciate very much the service that they've given over the past 2 and 3 years. And we are devastated to be sending on Jessica Huff, who served on the board for 8 years, which is the maximum allowed by our bylaws. So she's termed out. In her 8 years, she served for 6 years as an officer of the board, 5 of those as treasurer. And we really appreciate her leadership and how much time that she committed to WABA over the past 8 years. And with that, I'm going to introduce Nick, who is our secretary. And he's the one who's really shepherded the process of finding new people to serve on our board. And I am, again, impressed and inspired by the group of candidates that we have to draw from. And I think you're really going to enjoy meeting the 2 new folks that Nick is going to introduce to you.
Okay.
Well, hi everybody, I'm Nick Johnson. I served on the governance committee of the board for this past year, along with Jim Sebastian and Wayne Blumenthal and Engel here at Officio. So the governance committee under our bylaws is responsible for identifying and nominating new board members, as well as recommending current board members to be re-elected for additional term. The WABA board members serve 2-year terms, and there's a maximum of 4 terms, so maximum 8 years on the WABA board. So as Peter mentioned, we're losing 3 great board members, so we have work cut out for us. Today, the governance committee is recommending for your consideration and has been endorsed by the full board. The re-election of 3 current board members and the election of 2 new board members. So for re-election, it's Karen Miller of Alexandria, who has just finished her first term on the board. Dan Langenkamp of Bethesda, who has also just finished his first term on the board, and me. Washington DC, and I finished 2 terms on the board. In addition, the governance committee is recommending two new members joined the board. I'll tell you a little more about them. Pat Regan, from Chevy Chase, Maryland. Both of our new members are longstanding members of the DC Bite Spring community. Patrick has lots of experience in serving on professional and volunteer boards of directors. He's a personal injury lawyer in the firm of Regan and Regan Long, and among many other accomplishments that represent a lot of bicyclists in various cases. So he's done good work defending our rights in the courts. Cyclists. And our other recommendation is Keith Jackson, lives in Silver Spring, another long-time fixture in the DC bike community. He was the general manager of Gearing Up Bicycles, which I think we'll probably hear a little more about later, as you all know, just this week. Gearing Up has opened its doors as part of WABA, but has a longer history in DC, and Keith really got that shop going as general manager, and he currently serves as manager of the relatively new Trek store down in Skyland in southeast DC, which is a great full store for everybody. So those are the recommendations of the governance committee, and I'll turn it over back to Kira to open next vote.
All right, I would entertain a motion to elect this slate as it is proposed. Allison?
I move to approve the slate as presented.
All right, great. Is there a second? I see a second back there. All right, all those in favor of electing this slate, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. In any case, in any case, the ayes have it, and welcome to the board and welcome back to the board. And so the next item on the agenda is Elizabeth Picker, the executive director of WABA, who's gonna give us her second state of WABA address.
Hi, I'm so thrilled to be here. I'm so thrilled to be the executive director of the Washington Area Advisors Association, joining Eric Ellen and other esteemed former executive directors. I have so much to report on. We have had a really, really good couple of months. I was always here last year, but 2025 is turning out to be pretty good for WABA. So I'm just gonna go through it, and then if you have questions, I'm going to be around. So our trail rangers, anyone know our trail rangers in our So their agreement just got renewed for 5 years, and like I would say, it's a big deal. This does not clarify what a big deal. It's huge, and we're very excited that they're going to continue working for 5 years, doing excellent work they do. And we restructured, so there's an excellent trail ranger director, Ezra, who's here somewhere. And then we have 2 lead trail rangers. We've got teams, and they're out on the trails every day, doing some great work. The story I always tell is like a council member wrote, like there's a break, and the trail rangers doesn't always happen. It happened to be right there when we know we got it. And I had a picture back on social media, like, yeah, that's how we roll. Then the education grant, again, like, so half of our budget are these grants. And the education grant also got renewed for another 5 years, and that's VDOT. But education, unlike trail rangers, which I'm a Virginian, don't tell anyone. And I'm like, why can't you talk about the trails in Virginia? Like, we don't have money yet, but education works not only in DC, but in Arlington, Alexander, a special grant through Prince George's County for the last 2 or 3 years, doing even more than we had there than Montgomery County. So there's a lot of work that education does and has expanded. So not only did they receive a 5-year expansion or continuing expansion on the DDOT for DC grant, but they also have expanded greatly the work they do in the entire region, and have even hired new staff supported by the board and by the membership, by the way, to be able to do this education. There's so much demand. It's just the trick is if we actually charge what the classes cost, no one could afford it. Like no one could afford it. So we have to have that right for the community. So Sydney does a great job with that. Sydney, you can wait. So the next item on the agenda is Elizabeth Picker, the executive director of WABA, who's gonna give us her second state of WABA address. Then, Alan and Ken, Alan is new to the team, but definitely not new to WAPA. I met him because he's a donor, and I knew there was a chat with him, he was like, oh, I play a pencil, like, listen, great, that's fine. So Alan and Ken are doing this event, and then they're also planning lots, not just the side ride that we ride at the 50 stage, which we all love and we all do, right? But other events and other ways to really connect with the community. You have one, is it tomorrow, what is the one with?
Friday, we have one, Heidi was here, she was with me last week to see the school aviator program out of the Columbia Park, Airfield Air Museum.
For the Black History Month, yes, there's lots of new rides coming, lots of excitement coming from that team. The website and communications, this is like something I just like to brag about. The website was built. Eric actually helped build the website, that's how old it was, and he's not good on that yesterday. And I'm not trying to brag about what it was, it was just a stack of post-it notes all the way to the sky with HTML code, I don't know what it is. And our team with this many consultants and this many dollars built a brand new website from scratch. Colin left, but like, my God, no, they call it a hero. And did that in a way that I hope you all find really welcoming and really inviting and really accessible and easy to use, as opposed to post-it notes, which were wonderful, but because time is kind of gone. Then I'm like building up to the biggest one, biggest two, gearing up, guess what? Opened yesterday. Here was, as we said, when we were introduced, he had a 10-year history as a really strong organization in Washington DC, and Keith single-handedly kept it going for many of those years, but fell on some hard times. I think it could have withstood one of the hard times, all 2 hard times struggled. WABA was approached, and we decided to, it's complicated, but we did form an LLC and purchase the assets of, so that Bureau could keep going, the physical and intellectual assets. And so we were gonna open, and the board approved us doing this and opening January 1st, 2024. A lot of things happened, and there was some lawsuits that we were not involved in, but the spaces that we had said we would fit fell through, blah, blah, blah. It's been a journey. Yesterday, we opened right next to Alicia Tanner Park at 10 Harry Thomas Way Northeast. We opened Tuesday through Saturday, 12 to 7. Saturday, we close at 6. And it's a great place. You can bring your bike to get it fixed. You can donate bikes and we'll fix it up and sell it. And we offer earn a bike classes, 7 weeks where local youth learn how to repair a bike, earn a bike, and then if they want to stay and become mechanics, become shop managers, this is where they can stay and get that training. So we're very excited that after just blink of an eye, we opened yesterday. So, and then finally, the advocacy team, this is what we're known for, and this is what we do, but as Kara said, there is so much work to be done, and all of you help us so much on advocacy. Callie and her team have done a spectacular job, really setting, I think not just for the region, but setting a model for the country on how to build a better region for bicycling. And even as I say that, every single one of you in my head be like, not on this street, this place sucks, so we need better here. And that's all true. I don't know yours specifically, okay, everyone's true, but it just takes a lot of work, and it's amazing what has happened in the last 52 years. And it's amazing what's gonna happen in the next 52. So I'm really excited about that. And then one final note, next Wednesday, we are meeting with the Board of Zoning approval, appeals, BZA, whatever BZA stands for. We're possibly gonna purchase a new headquarters for WABA, that we would actually be in, and part of the donor who helped fund it to get going is like, I want WABA to have a permanent home. I'm not trying to brag, but the headquarters, if any of you go with us afterward, is a basement with sewage pipes overhead, which Eric sent me on, which was a great setup 15 years ago, but which we are tired of now. And the new space has light and bike parking. So we're hoping that that will happen next Monday, and that's all that I have. And I'm trying to say the state of WABA is strong.
So, thank you very much, Lisa. And at this very moment, we are starting the strategic planning process. This is the first thing that we're doing. And it feels just really appropriate to begin this journey with you, the most hardcore members who actually, spend the time with us this evening. And what is gonna happen with, so we've got questions, And we're gonna get your thoughts on these questions. We're gonna take in these reflections. We're gonna combine them with other insights. We're gonna do additional research on some issues that we might need to, and work with a consultant to help digest it all over the summer. And then by the end of the year, we'll be able to introduce a new strategic plan that captures the direction that we want to take WABA in for the next 3 to 5 years. And so what we're gonna do is ask you these 3 questions, and you are gonna answer us on your phones. And so you don't hear the person in front of you and say this very often, but please take out your phones. And we're gonna start with a warm-up question. So you have 2 ways to get there. Either take a picture of that QR code or use that URL and that ID number. See, do that. Green arrow.
Ready for the question?
This is what we see.
Okay,
This is-
great, that's it's working. All right. Okay. So the first question that we have is a warm-up question for you to get everybody in a good mood and just practice getting the answer up. Which is, name a place that you love to play.
It says waiting for presenter.
This is practice for us.
Oh, we on that one?
We can add it, we can add it.
We're gonna add it real quick, we didn't add that symbol.
Okay.
The password is.
What was it?
Where do you like it?
Yeah, you gotta turn on the light.
Five, zero, 8243.
What?
5208 8243.
Mine says waiting for presenter.
We just have the question in. You have it, does everyone have it?
It's good.
Okay, good.
This is why we're practicing.
Sure.
Can you say that password again one more time?
That's 5208 8243. 8243.
You already submitted your answer, you should see it up there. It's a great spot. Rock Creek Park or Lockwood.
Oh, there's a ton more. Is there a way to?
Right in the school.
I can change it. I don't know if I can change it. We'll just keep
And you
going.
a lot of water. Oh, it is, it's like it's working. Good job. And so Elizabeth, you got the first question.
Okay. Okay, and so that first question was easy, but we're going to get it progressively harder as we go along. And so the first one, we want to really please think about like 5 years. And the trick, someone said this to me recently, my son will be someone who will join the board. He said, we're living right now in 2030, that the pace of change is so fast. That if 5 years ago you had said, you know what's gonna happen, right? Like, it's already happened. So 5 years from now, imagine the technology and the changes that could happen. So really think boldly, like what, as we answer these questions. And the first one is just like, what does WABA do well and what are our strengths? But please be specific. Like, for example, if you say, oh, we have a great staff, like what makes us have great? Where have you been, and you do have great staff, but where have you interacted with our staff? Where have our staff helped you in a way that's meaningful? Oh, I forgot, and we're doing cheerleaders, so you're not just typing in your answer, you're talking with the person to your left? Talk to the person to your left, oh, you can't. Next to you, and it should be letting you have 35 minutes. So, please try to like just chit chat with each other and say what you're doing, or you can say nay if you wanna say something. Or see what happens if you're nay. But like that. It's, oh, I thought it was gonna be this, when it showed us, but the other one just didn't do it, but it will, right?
The next one is a scroll questions. The next question is a scroll. What are you finding?
I really appreciate, in addition to feedback, the comment, like the conversation, that's what I'm hoping to get from this, and you can take that conversation into the next question too. I want to read some of the highlights, or actually, does anyone have something that they really just will see on there that they really want to shout out that they didn't write on there?
Promoting the joy of writing.
Joy was just, that's what we saw, the joyous communications and the writing newsletters, which were just super fun to. So seeing that, anybody else see something that just really stood out to them?
All four of us talked about how much we appreciate the variety of events that are available and the really extensive communication that you all put out. We never feel like we miss anything. We always feel like we find the events that are and the information that's relevant to us.
Yeah. Great, thank you. Okay, one more. Anybody else? Oh, yes.
So I've really enjoyed the community pipelines. Stateside and the one you do on Halloween. Side, you know, things like that. They're it goes with what you were saying, like joy of writing.
Okay, all right, awesome. So thank you so much for the feedback. And again, like, this is just the start, and we really appreciate every comment.
Thank you. The next couple of questions get more into the strategic planning mindset, and I think they're a little harder. So this next one is, imagine, like Elizabeth was saying, 5 years into the future, it's 2030, and we, as the larger WABA community, have been wildly successful. What's different in the world? And for this one, definitely take a moment to think about it and turn to, again, a person or people next to you.
You're not.
Talk to only the person on your left. And think about what does wild success look like? And just like Elizabeth said, this is a time to imagine boldly, because if we don't imagine it, we can't reach for
We're headquartered in renting. So I feel
Okay, thanks, everybody. So I guess I'll preserve it for 1 second. Great, thank you. So I know that most of you have been chatting and not necessarily watching the answers scroll by, but we're definitely seeing some themes, and I love the bold thinking here.
Oh, yeah, the both thinking.
Definitely several different versions of potentially Vision Zero, which I hate that is bold thinking, but it is. And I was telling one at the beginning about bike buses in elementary school, bike education at every elementary school, that's another great one. So what are some that you're seeing here that you talked about with each other that you feel are sort of those broader themes that you want to shout out? Anybody?
Well, safety to me, to my friend here, the most important thing, yes, it's a lot of fun, but it's not fun if your heirs, if your survivors have to go to a funeral home because of a site of motorists that ran you over. This should be the alpha and omega of this group, in my opinion.
I second that. I mean, as a guy whose wife died cycling in the DMV, to me, we have a long way to go on the safety. Bike lanes are great, they're all over the place, But painted lines are enough to save people. So we need more protected bike lanes, but we also need legislation that penalizes drivers, we need more education, we need roads that actually are designed to save lives.
The same, there are a lot of people talking that are avid bike riders that are against cars, the cars are against the bikers. You really gotta find a way to have the conversations and start forming, understanding both perspectives, what's more than why, and finding a solution.
Yeah, and that actually, I think, starts to get to the next and final question of this bunch, which is thinking about these wild dreams of success. What is it that we might need to do differently to get there? Because we're not there yet, and these are not necessarily new dreams. And what is it that we can do as WABA, as a community, to shift our approach, do something differently, and increase the chances that we're gonna get to these bold visions? So that is your next and final question. And again, please both think about this, type something in, and chat about it with your neighbors. We'll give you a few minutes to do that.
Makes sense.
I don't know.
You tell this question is harder for the quieter. All right, it seems like the answer is slowing down a bit. So I've been watching the one in the center here, it says diversify membership. And I would love for somebody who either put that in or talk to somebody who put that in to share how you see that leading to some of the dreams that we're talking about. Does anybody want to talk about that? Go ahead.
Yeah, take a look around the room. You need a lot more younger people. We have people that probably were part of the first class of WABA in 1972. Who are still members. But you need to grow the next generation.
I think to go along with that, I think one thing that needs to be done is we need to get more and more people involved. But I think it's a volume of the water. I think the volume of the water is going to take a lot of these things. In order for people to believe in the priorities of things like safety and having resources for ridership, you have to have a large volume. And get the young people here, we have to have, we're increasing volume, we're doing well, but it's gotta be, it's still 5%. Something like that.
So we're hearing-
It needs to be 25, 30, 40%.
We're hearing younger riders, bigger volume of riders, learning how to stand up and then get to the whole of people.
Along the last comment about taking a look around the room, we're way too white, and it's just totally white. I'm chair of the DC Bike Council. It's a big problem on that council too. The black members of the DC Council refuse to appoint members to the back because they think we're just a bunch of white hippies and make it difficult for their parishioners to go to church and stuff, you know, so there's a huge white, black divide, I fear, like, and it needn't be, but there is, and I think it's reflected.
Could folks stand up when they talk, because I think. Yeah, it's hard to hear.
Okay, well,
Yeah, I think he's definitely correct. I was saying, diversify. It's been where I've been a member in WABA since 2016. Even when you know, we go on events, I go to WABA and wow. It's just like I was the only black person after that, you know. So it's definitely a difference. I think maybe we need to get out to the other communities like the county. I live in, you know, PG County, and but I'm born and raised in DC. But it's always been that divide. I mean, if you would ask people, you ask cyclists that well, even when you go on the events, it's like going to 50 states. I mean, 50 states events or any other events, side ride and everything. It's more the younger folks do come out though, but then that they come out to ride, but they're not in meetings like this. You know, it's a lot of young folks out to ride. But getting back on this point, it is definitely probably about what 10% black, compared to like 90% white. So I think you know, we have a lot of cycling groups in PG County, big groups all over the area, and that do a lot of ride. I think WABA needs to kind of like to try to find a way to get people to, because I was with WABA before I even started riding with all these other groups that was out here. You know, that's why I'm still, you know, here today. And I like the events that they do. But yeah, that's what I think
Hi, everyone. Keith Jackson. I ran gearing up bicycles, you know, for I guess 3 to 4 years. I've been in the bike business in the DC metro area since the mid-90s. The lack of diversity in bikes around here has always been an issue. As he said, you know, post-COVID, the amount of Black people cycling has doubled in the country, and it's certainly doubled in the DC metro area, if not tripled, and that is not reflected in the audience here. You know, and it's real simple. It needs to get fixed if we're going to grow this thing. So
Let's move the mic. Over to Jill, and then we can read the mic.
Okay, so real quick, okay, to advertise myself, I'm trying to get my nonprofit off the ground in 117. So I think of a million ways to get, you know, involved in, but also there's so much animosity and mistrust, you know, with the police and everybody. So cool to have like patrol people riding in these permits for safety, where you could have bikers driving around and working as just neighborhood patrol, neighborhood watch.
Yeah, another way maybe we need to diversify is help people of various abilities get out on bicycles. I mean, some people may need adaptive bicycles or you know, activities for, you know, people who may need some assistance. I've heard, you know, people with everything from auditory problems to people with, you know, certain physical limitations that could get out on bicycles with a little assistance.
So if you want to speak, just, so one of the volunteers over in the lobby, Elizabeth has handed up.
Oh.
And then, we can work our way back across the room. I think I saw 3 hands up here.
Hi guys, but yeah, the diversified membership tag up there, I think that's an important one. Like some folks have already echoed, I think the general attitude towards a lot of outdoor activities in general are very like, they have a very like white face, and I'm granted like it's some like just at some point it's just a numbers game. But I think that means we might just have to work a little bit harder to get more young people, more people of different abilities, and more people of color involved. And I think there's a lot of opportunities and networks or even casual groups that we could connect to Like for example, I know, just like thinking about like the people who would be bikers or the people who would ride bikes, sorry, what other activities might they be doing? Like they could probably also be like climbers, and there's like a DC Dike Climbers group on Instagram. There's also an Alphabet Soup Events Club, which is like a lot of young queer people in the city. So yeah, I think it might be really nice to try to find a way to connect with those folks, and I think it would be really good for the community because there's a lot of transplants in the city that are also just like looking for an opportunity to connect with people. And maybe we can tap into that. I think it might be worth investigating.
So, gentleman right here is this.
Yeah, thank you. Howard Marks, I live in Chinatown. I think that the elephant in the room is the bike share program here in the district. I don't know about the other jurisdictions. When I leave my condo heading in any direction, I have to walk my bike on the sidewalk because it is strewn with bicycles, even though they're supposed to be racks, with the scooters. It's incredibly difficult, especially for handicapped and people who are sightless. Also, the issue is the reckless driving by those who rent these bikes, the lack of any using helmets, etc. I think instead of complaining like I'm doing, let's join forces. We have someone here who's here from the Mayor's Council. Let's be at the table when the rules are drawn up for these shared bicycle schemes. Thank you.
So we do have time for these last three comments if we want to take them.
I'd like to just ask people to broaden the diversity question to include, we have a lot of Asian, a lot of immigrant, a lot of Latin American bicyclists that I see regularly on the street who aren't represented here at all. And I don't know how you get them involved, all the political stuff and everything else aside, but there's a large population of people who are bicycling who aren't included here. We need to find a way to bring them in as well as bringing in everybody else in the community.
Just to piggyback on the gentleman's comments about scooters and such, one of the first things people say in comment threads and other things at meetings about cyclists when they want to oppose infrastructure is that they don't follow the law, they run through lights, and it's always like they hammer that back all the time. I'm wondering if WABA has taken some sort of stance to clarify we don't support that behavior, if you try to follow the rules, that we're not representing anybody who does crazy things on the road. Maybe I missed it, but I haven't seen that kind of communication yet to kind of indicate that we're not insane people.
There's one more comment.
Bringing it back to the beginning, there was a couple comments about increasing the number of numbers, increasing numbers. I know some countries, I think the UK still offers an incentive for biking to work, to buy the bikes, to repair the bikes. So maybe WABA could, advocate for that or find some wealthy donor to provide that.
Here you are.
I just want to say thank you for all of these comments, and it affirms something that we've been wrestling with, on the board and within WABA for a long time. And there are some fresh ideas here which we definitely appreciate, but I thought this might be a thread of conversation as we go through our strategic planning process, but it sounds like I'm really grateful that we have your support as we wrestle with this, and I don't want to take that for granted, so thank you.
Speaking of support as we wrestle, this is Kira's last official act as board chair. She has served as chair for 2 years, and she's done an excellent job supporting as chair, it's been a lot. I really appreciate your participation. As we said, this is just the beginning, there's gonna be work groups and other ways for you to get involved in the strategic plan, watch our newsletters and our communication, and you'll see. But even this will really inform what we do from here and how we go forward, I mean, we're really grateful. This is like insane, but we are 7 minutes ahead of you. So, no one has ever been mad that a meeting ended early, I think, though I don't know that a meeting has ever ended early, but, I don't know, do we have anything else, or I just fill up 7 minutes of talking?
Yeah, all right, so if that's it, we're gonna, formally adjourn the official part, of the member meeting. I just wanna say, just a word or two, thank you so much again, for everybody who came out here, for all the volunteers, who, helped out. So after. We are, as I said, we're gonna, adjourn the, official part of this meeting, so we are gonna end the Zoom call shortly. But if you have more comments of things we've been discussing, you can leave that in the chat. We will, be able to read those, we'll have those saved, even after the meeting is done. So we, in just a few minutes, my colleague Alan is going to lead folks over to the office, where you can explore that. It's just, a block and a half down that way, so, if you'd like to join us there, we'll leave in just a moment, but, just a few folks, stick around first of all, if you want to, before we head out, there are sticky notes over there, the questions that we discussed earlier on the back. You had, one more comments, you can also email us at membership@WABA.org, but if you'd like to leave it over there, that would also work. My volunteers, just a few of you folks could stick around to help break down things. And then finally, as promised, we have another pull in the raffle. So for the 3 people, who are also gonna stick around, when we pull out those tickets there, we have one more in there, make sure we got everything. So I'm gonna read out the last 3 numbers of those. Can you get a little drum roll for these? The last 3 numbers are 581, 581, one once, one twice. It's gone. We're gonna pull that again. We're gonna pull another one of these. We got 611. We have a 611. Anybody? Once, twice. That's all good. We're gonna keep it moving. See if we end a little bit early. We got a 578. Anybody have 578 is the last 3 on their raffle ticket? I'm surprised. Surprising. All right. Ready to go? It's happened sometimes. On the last polls. All right, 620. I'm confident in this one. We got a 620, right? Everybody get the raffle tickets? So we got 620. We don't have a 620. If anyone has another box of raffle tickets, let me know. All right, well, we're just doing the speed round with this one. We got 593. 593. Can we at that table? We're gonna have 2 more. I'm just gonna run through these quick. 603. One more. Let's put these. I'll shuffle that. All right. 577. We got 577. There we go. All right. Keep it over there. Again, if you'd like to leave sticky notes on the table, that you can leave feedback for the questions on the footpads over there. Otherwise, the colleague Alan will lead you out to the WABA offices. Again, give ourselves one more round of applause for making all of this happen.